So what was your first film?
My first
film was Glass.
Your first film isn't going to be perfect.
That's actually very important.
How would you describe yourself as a director on set?
I was a dictator on set.
Yeah?
I thought I was Chris Nolan.
Hey guys, welcome today to PDOX Talks. I'm here today with my co-host Yash, where today we're going to talk about a couple things, actually only one, student films.
Student films.
Intro sounds. Okay, play on. So, first question. What do we want to talk about first question?
That's a good start.
Okay, let's start with your first film.
So what was your first film?
My first
film was Glass.
So Yash, what was your first student film like? Okay, just take your time there. We've got all day actually.
What's the question?
So repeating the question, what was your first student film like?
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more for the audience, please.
My first film was Glasses, which was about a boy who finds a pair of glasses. And his reality transforms into something different. What do you want to know about it?
Yeah, one, where did the idea come from? And two, what did you get out of it?
I got a really good crew from it. First and foremost, I met Corel there, I met Chloe there. I met Nolan when I was writing it, but he wasn't on the film. It's a good team that I got. What's the next part of the question?
Where did the idea come from?
The idea come from,
Yeah.
So there's this song called Rasa Karna by A.R. Rahman for this album, the Mamanan album, which speaks about a whole different thing. It speaks about how someone affected by caste politics is growing up in this hostile environment. But that song has this one line which goes, roughly translated, who can this poor child speak to or tell in a way that they can understand? And that just kind of inspired me to write something through the eyes of a child.
So where did the domestic violence themes come from? Is that probably a bad question?
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you.
Yeah. What about?
How did Drip?
As many young men may find, we find ourselves in breakups, and they are lots of fun. Especially for an artist, you have plenty of content to write about. The breakup was interesting, not because I enjoyed that, but I learned a lot about myself during it, both from her side and my side, learning about not you're always at fault and you're always at two levels. It's not your fault, it's not her fault. It always works in tandem. And that was where Drip came from. I wanted to write something that was about me and my perceptions, but I also wanted to understand the other side, because that was what I wanted to know. Why did it go down? And what can I do to fix it later? Make sure that doesn't happen again. I can be better, and I can look for the right person. Yeah. Cool.
You know what's funny about Drip?
What?
Speaking about breakup, and then shooting it at...
So the interesting thing with Drip is when in real life, I really wanted to make sure the relationship with my ex wasn't bad. It was still good. It was still healthy. We could still chat if we wanted to. Not that like I'm going out of my way to go and talk to her every day, but like it wasn't awkward. We could just still say hello and we're still people.
Yeah, that's good.
That was the big thing for me. What was it like as Glasses? How would you describe yourself as a director on set?
I was a dictator on set.
Yeah?
I thought I was Chris Nolan.
Yeah.
I thought I was Chris Nolan. No, because to be fair on everyone who was working on the film, this was probably their first slightly bigger budget film.
Right.
And it was still in uni at that point. So they weren't used to the workflow because it was very intensive. The production design was very intensive. The all the work we had to do pre-production was very intensive for us to get ready for something, because it was a 5-day shoot and we had like 3 or 4 locations and stuff like that, and we had to build a set and stuff, and no one was experienced enough on that, so I had to take a lot of responsibilities on my shoulder. And we also had some who were not exactly performing well, let's just put it that way, and I had to take that responsibility on my shoulder as well, or give it to someone else to do it. And it was a lot of pressure on me because I was spending money on that. So it kind of made me into someone who was just trying to get something done, just trying to look for the finished product, but doing a lot of shitty things along the way. So I felt like I was quite rude to people sometimes. I was kind of very passive aggressive to some people, I guess, and I didn't like doing that on set. I just, when I think about it now, I'm just like, oh, what did you do? Like, come on, man.
Why?
Yeah.
It was interesting. When I shot Drip, it was like I was jumping in the deep end with the sharks, only because I knew I was the person on set who knew least. Because I had the opportunity to work with a lot of great cinematographer, Nova, and like a cool lighting team and a really great AD. And I knew I was the least knowledgeable on that set. And so I was just trying to get my ideas, but I didn't want to push anyone's toes. So I was the opposite. I was a bit too passive. There were times where I'm like, I don't like it, but I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I mean? I was in that boat. And then I was like, this is still your film. If you want something changed, you're allowed to say so. So I was in that tug of war. It's an interesting point about how you were as a director. Where has this now changed you for your future films?
I think I'm more open to collaborating with people more. So I let the heads of the departments make their own decisions, which I find brings about this energy where they want to pitch stuff, where they're more comfortable telling me, all right, can we do it like this? Can we do like that instead? I've had people tell me, this is a good idea, but I think this is better. And then I go, yeah, let's do that.
Probably is.
Yeah. And I find myself saying yes to a lot of things, and people go, why can't you say no? Because I'm like, I hold my nose for things I really don't like. And I usually don't say no. I say, can we try something else? And that is something I learned on Glasses. And I have tried to use that for the following 4 films I've directed after that. Yeah. How about you?
Me, Drip's still relatively recent for me, but I think the key thing for me that I learnt was in the preparation, looking to know what you really want and allowing that to be how you prepare, especially in when we had our equipment prep days. That was where I was like, this is where I needed to go. No, we need this for this. And not going, oh, it's okay, he'll figure it out. That was the big thing I learned. I was like, not everyone knows everything what you're thinking.
How do you find that balance of trying to... Because as a first-time filmmaker, you won't know what you need.
No.
If you have a really good team, they might know. If you don't, then you're fucked.
Yeah. So
how do you find that balance?
It's a really good question.
I know.
Yeah. Especially like, because the films I worked on previously, because this was my first directorial debut, but not my first film I worked on. A lot of the films I worked on before, I knew the team didn't know anything, and I was only a little bit maybe in front of them in my knowledge on film. And that was kind of where I got to play around and learn with how people knew stuff and didn't know stuff. So I guess I normally like to ask questions. I like to talk to them and see how they approach things. And then that kind of gives me an idea of, okay, this is how I want to go about interacting with this person.
Mm-hmm. What is something you want to say to first-time filmmakers? What is something you would want to say to you now that you're not a first-time filmmaker?
your first film isn't going to be perfect.
That's actually very important for us to know.
That is the
very important.
most important.
I think it's fine to make mistakes.
I think it's the best thing to make mistakes.
The best thing to make, yeah.
Yeah. The mistakes I made, I'm like, oh shit, that's how we do it. And that's where we can go forward. And then like, especially in recent times, I've shot a lot of documentaries for different people. And that was really interesting because you don't have a big team with you. You have a small crew where you all have to have a decent amount of knowledge to get the right shot. Everyone's got to know something about lighting, something about sound, and something about the camera. That was super helpful, and we still made mistakes on that. Like there was shots I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I shot that. You know what I mean? But yeah, what about you?
Just chill, man.
just chill, man.
Just chill. Don't be too hard on yourself. Come on, it's all right. Yeah, because like you said, it's fine to make mistakes. Like that's what film school preps you for. There's a lot of discussion outside from people who don't go to film school. They're like, why are you paying so much money to go to film school? Like you don't have to. And I always disagree with them because you don't go to film school to learn how to make a film. You go to film school to learn how to not make a film. You make all your mistakes in film school. So when you go out, you don't embarrass the fuck out of yourself. Do you agree to that?
100%. As frustrating as it is, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, do I agree that you need to go to film school to learn how to make films? Probably not. You don't have to do it, but it's a great opportunity to fuck up.
Yeah.
Because it costs a little bit less money than doing it in the real world where you have to hire real people. So you may pay $10,000 for whatever it is, but on set, you've paid a lot more to pay a professional cinematographer to watch you fuck up on set going, oh, I don't really know what to say to the actor to get the response I want. Like, that's a lot more money. So, yeah.
For Drip, you had kind of a professional crew,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So there was not much room for imperfections, I would say, except the fact that there were things that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Like the different shots and you have told me this before time frames and there were shots that you wanted but you couldn't get. Was there any other difficulties that you couldn't?
I think the big thing was I needed more days to shoot it. And I didn't realize how long things were going to take. I knew it was going to take time, so we allocated time, but I just went a little bit further than I was expecting. That was the big thing as well. Especially if your film is like my film relied on movement. Yeah. But we didn't prioritize it. Which is this weird, why? Yeah.
Would you do lesser days with more rehearsal times?
Say again.
So you have less days to shoot.
Yeah.
Let's say how many days would Drip?
3.
3 days. Let's say you have 2 days to shoot, but then you do 3 days of rehearsing before.
Rehearsing as in with crew or with actors?
With actors.
Actors, not so much. This one was more crew because the stuff needed more time to prep on the day. Yeah. Because it was this argument between gimbal and dolly, whether we want to use that or that. And what we came to the conclusion after the film, we're like, if we were going to use the gimbal, we should have had 2 cameras ready to go. If we wanted to get it in 3 days. It may be even if we wanted to get in 5 days, we still wouldn't have wanted done that because it might have given us more flexibility.
So kids, go to film school or don't go to film school.
Make mistakes and it's okay to make mistakes. Cool.